From 1997 to 2007, Stargate SG-1 took audiences through the space gate and won the hearts of fans with its dramatic science fiction adventures. But behind the spotlight were the mysterious real-life stories of its stars. Addictions, fiery on-set conflicts, and sudden deaths that left behind deep regrets. Let's explore the journey of the Stargate SG-1 actors and honor the legacies they left behind. Let's dive in. Carmen Argentziano as Jacob Carter and Selmak. Carmen Argentziano was born on October 27, 1943, in Sharon, Pennsylvania. He first appeared in Stargate SG-1 in 1998 when he was 55 years old, taking on the role of Jacob Carter, a retired Air Force officer, devoted father of Samantha Carter, who becomes the host of the Tok'ra Selmak, a symbiote that helped him extend his life and fight for justice. This role left a strong impression thanks to its emotional depth, turning Jacob Carter into an important supporting character loved by audiences. Outside the screen, Argentziano's life was tinged with the gray of personal pain. He struggled with alcoholism for many years, leading to a series of broken marriages and tensions with his children. The pressure of maintaining the image of a solid actor, combined with roles that sometimes lacked breakthroughs, made his temperament become erratic. Colleagues recounted that he had intense arguments with directors and co-stars, especially when his role was reduced, exposing the vulnerable side of an artist who seemed strong. In the last years of his life, a lung cancer diagnosis struck a devastating blow to Argentziano's spirit. He quietly fought on, keeping his illness secret so he could continue appearing in projects such as House MD, 2007, or a guest role in Criminal Minds, 2009, trying to hold on to what little spotlight was left. On February 10, 2019, Carmen Argentziano took his final breath after a brief time of publicly acknowledging his cancer, closing a journey of 75 challenging years. His estate was estimated at around $3 million USD, mostly thanks to his hard work in over 100 films and series such as The Godfather Part 2 and Stargate SG-1. Don S. Davis as Major General George Hammond. Donald Sinclair Davis was born on August 4, 1942, in Aurora, Missouri. He entered the Stargate SG-1 series in 1997 when he was 55 years old, and went on to be attached to the role for 7 seasons as Major General George Hammond, the typical commander of Stargate Command, a man who was both disciplined and compassionate with his subordinates, always standing at the front line against cosmic dangers. It was Hammond's calmness and bravery that elevated the image of the fatherly general that audiences would never forget. Yet behind those majestic scenes, Davis had to hide a psychological crisis about having started his career late, always fearing he would be forgotten among a younger and more talented cast. Tensions escalated when Davis developed a heavy smoking habit and drank alcohol to relieve stress, leading to moments of anger and heated arguments with the production crew about the script direction. Also, because of those insecurities, he went through a marriage breakdown and became distant from his son Matt, carrying a heartache that was hard to mend. Seeming to find joy again when he remarried Ruby Fleming in 2003, Davis still could not escape the shadow of declining health, as his heart and liver continuously signaled danger. On late filming nights, he had to hide chest pains, still striving to finish portraying a strong General Hammond so as not to disappoint the audience. Finally, on June 29, 2008, Don S. Davis suddenly passed away from a severe heart attack, closing a stormy life at the age of 65. His colleagues honored him by naming a battleship in Stargate universe after the legendary general. This artist left behind a net worth of around $2 million USD, mainly from his earnings on Stargate SG-1 and other television projects. Cliff Simon as Baal. Cliff Simon was born on September 7, 1962, in Johannesburg, South Africa. He began appearing in Stargate SG-1 in 2001 when he was 39 years old, portraying Baal, a cunning and seductive system lord who became the series' most memorable villain thanks to his dangerous demeanor and superior intellect. Baal not only haunted Stargate Command, but also brought audiences the image of a villain with depth, blending coldness with an irresistibly magnetic appeal. Behind the stage lights, Cliff Simon carried an adventurous soul, but also much melancholy. Coming from a background as a top-level gymnast and swimmer, he was soon haunted by the ambition to conquer greatness. His arrogant temperament led him to refuse scripts on more than one occasion, creating tension with producers, and rumors about a fractured marriage with his wife Colette further added to the tragic shades of his life. People in the industry said Simon was not easy to get along with, carrying many resentments toward Hollywood and a feeling of being constrained, which made him increasingly isolated. Although he tried his hand at other projects such as NCIS or the memoir Paris Nights. My Year at the Moulin Rouge, 2016, Cliff. Simon could not escape the shadow of the villain that followed him throughout his career. In 2019, he threw himself into the documentary series Into the Unknown, wandering around the world looking for answers to dark legends. But that adventurous spirit ended up costing him his life when a strong wave suddenly knocked him down while kite surfing at Topanga Beach, California on March 9, 2021, ending a short life at the age of 58. He left behind a modest net worth of about 1.5 million USD, accumulated from numerous television roles, and the book filled with memories of glamorous Paris. Isaac Hayes as Tolok. Isaac Lee Hayes Jr. was born on August 20, 1942, in Covington, Tennessee. He first appeared in Stargate SG-1 in 2005 when he was 63 years old, playing Tolok, a courageous Jaffa warrior who once stood up to lead a righteous fight against the rule of the Goa'uld. Although only a supporting character, Tolok still carried a fierce, determined image, adding diverse color to the Stargate world. But behind that successful image was a life full of fractures and controversies. Hayes, the legend of Shaft and hot-buttered soul who once captivated the world, became haunted by scandals surrounding Scientology, leading to a bitter departure from South Park and a broken relationship with the public. The pressure of fame, along with a simmering addiction to painkillers, pushed him into a closed-off, isolated life, avoiding the spotlight after decades of glory. At the end of his life, Isaac Hayes' health declined rapidly, the consequence of repeated strokes that left him no longer strong enough to return to the stage. On lonely nights, he was submerged in regret and the loneliness of a genius who had once held an entire soul empire in his hands, but could not save a fractured family, having gone through 3 divorces, 11 children, and countless grandchildren who left behind complicated inheritance issues. On August 10, 2008, just 10 days before his 66th birthday, Hayes was found unconscious on the floor next to a still-running treadmill and passed away from a recurrent stroke, closing his life at the age of 65. It was estimated that at the time of his death, Isaac Hayes left behind an estate of about 12 million USD, mainly from his legendary music catalog along with a few television roles. Louis Gossit Jr. as Garak. Louis Cameron Gossit Jr. was born on May 27, 1936, in Brooklyn, New York. He joined Stargate SG-1 in 2005 when he was 69 years old, taking on the role of Garak, a powerful Jaffa leader full of strength and political ambition, creating a memorable figure in the Stargate universe with a tough, cold demeanor, yet holding his own ideals. This role was enriched by the same heroic spirit that had once taken Gossit to the top of cinema with an Oscar for An Officer and A Gentleman in 1982. However, behind the spotlight, Louis Gossit Jr. had to face countless hardships. His career declined after the 1980s due to failed film projects and risky business ventures. 3 marriages all ended in divorce, leaving him with deep emotional wounds, along with rumors of domestic violence that Gossit himself never officially admitted, but still became a shadow that followed his image for decades. In his later years, Gossit Jr. gradually became more withdrawn and quietly fought through a series of illnesses: diabetes, prostate cancer, and then COVID-19, which severely weakened his health, in addition to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease tormenting his every breath. He rarely shared, choosing to endure and avoid the cameras of the media. Nevertheless, in brief moments, people could still see the proud light of an artist who had once brought glory to African-American cinema. On March 29, 2024, Gossit Jr. took his final breath at a rehabilitation center in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 87, after complications from lung disease combined with heart failure. His net worth at the time of death was around $5 million USD, mostly from Roots, An Officer and a Gentleman, and other television roles. Willie Garson as Martin Lloyd. William Garson, Passamont, was born on February 20, 1964, in Highland Park, New Jersey. He began appearing in Stargate SG-1 in 2000 when he was 36 years old, portraying Martin Lloyd, a humorous, somewhat eccentric but also insightful character, remembered by audiences for his witty, satirical dialogues and gentle, charming acting style. Martin Lloyd was completely different from the serious roles in Stargate, giving Garson the chance to bring a fresh breeze to the entire series. Yet outside of the spotlight, Willie Garson had to endure many silent pains. After the massive success of his role as Stanford Blatch in Sex and the City, he was almost typecast into the image of the witty gay friend, making it difficult for his film career to break through. In the following years, Garson quietly raised an adopted son, without publicly sharing any long-term romantic relationships, which caused public speculation about the isolation and loneliness he had to bear. The pressure to maintain a humorous image tormented Garson, and he more than once felt stuck and discouraged about his acting path. Even more tragically, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer but decided to keep it a secret, even from close friends. Garson continued to film, and just like that, while quietly fighting the illness. Willie Garson passed away on September 21, 2021, at his home in Los Angeles, closing a 57-year journey filled with much laughter, but also deep loneliness. His net worth at the time of death was about $5 million USD, mainly from Sex and the City, along with numerous television supporting roles. Mory Chaken as Neris. Mory Allen Chaken was born on July 27, 1949, in New York. He began appearing in Stargate SG-1 in 2005 when he was 56 years old, playing Neris, a greedy, cunning Goa'uld who was both frightening and humorous, always trying to cozy up to Stargate Command to carry out his own schemes. The slyness and extravagant appetite of Neris, as portrayed by Chaken, became a unique highlight among the otherwise serious villains of the series, confirming his one-of-a-kind versatility. Behind the spotlight, Chaken's life was full of breakdowns. After his brilliant success with the leading role in Whale Music in 1994, which won him a prestigious Genie Award, his marriage gradually fell apart. His first marriage to producer Ilana Frank ended quietly, leaving much pain, and even when he remarried actress Susanna Hoffman, they could not avoid constant tension. Although he had a young daughter as a source of comfort, Mory still carried within him loneliness, insecurity, and lingering emotional wounds that made him more and more withdrawn. In his final years, he continued to devote himself to the screen with Less Than Kind in 2008, portraying Sam Blecker, a clumsy and chaotic father, like a reflection of his real life, full of love but helpless. Colleagues revealed that Chaken had a hot-tempered, unpredictable personality, with many heated arguments on set, which damaged working relationships and left him mentally exhausted. Exactly on his 61st birthday, July 27, 2010, Mory Chaken suddenly passed away in Toronto due to complications from a heart valve infection, closing a life full of storms and unfinished chapters. It was estimated that he left behind an estate of about $2 million USD, Not a large sum compared to his talent and nearly 50 years of dedication. Paul Koslo as Terrell. Paul Koslo, birth name Manfred Koslowski, was born on June 27, 1944 in Germany. He appeared in Stargate SG-1 in 2000 when he was 56 years old, playing Terrell, a cold and loyal Jaffa who, though only a supporting character, left a mark thanks to his piercing gaze and threatening deep voice, fitting the image of a ruthless henchman in the Goa'uld system. Thanks to his extensive experience from dozens of previous villain roles, Koslo turned Terrell into a memorable note for fans of science fiction. Off-screen, his life was quiet and full of somber tones. Once remembered by audiences for the Omega Man, 1971, or Mr. Majestic, 1974, Paul Koslo was tied to the image of a villain, which made it hard for him to break out of the mold, leading to a career that gradually stagnated after the 1990s. After marrying late to actress and screenwriter Alaire Patterson in 1997 and having one child, he focused on caring for his family, but still carried with him anxiety as his fame faded amid the turbulent world of Hollywood. In his final years, Koslo quietly battled pancreatic cancer, a cruel disease that drained him both physically and mentally. Friends recalled that he lived quite withdrawn, staying away from the spotlight, and rarely shared publicly about the pain he was enduring. This quiet lifestyle meant news of his passing on January 9, 2019, at the age of 74, was little reported by the media. He left behind a modest net worth of about $500,000 USD, mainly thanks to supporting roles over a 50-year career, along with a quiet yet special legacy, the image of a classic on-screen villain, with depth and presence that not every actor could reach. Lawrence Dayne as Major General Henry Bauer. Lawrence Joseph Zahab, stage name Lawrence Dayne, was born on April 3, 1937, in Masson, Quebec. He stepped into the Stargate SG-1 universe in 2001 when he was 63 years old, portraying Major General Henry Bauer, a powerful officer who appeared in a few episodes with a calm yet commanding presence, reflecting a true leader. Although only a supporting character, Dayne still conveyed the toughness and the inner struggles of Bauer caught among countless difficult military decisions, leaving a strong impression on viewers. Off-screen, Dayne had a long-standing career from Scanners, 1981, to Bride of Chucky, 1998, yet also had to face many sorrows. In the 1980s, he was rumored to have been drunk on set, damaging the professional image he had worked so hard to build. A late marriage in 1995 to Mary Laurel McIntosh brought him some peace, but Lawrence's health gradually declined with age, causing considerable pressure and anxiety as acting roles became fewer. He continued quietly working in the arts, trying his hand at directing with Heavenly Bodies, 1984, then taking on film production work, but his career never truly broke through. Friends described Dayne as a reserved, hard-to-open-up person, which sometimes made him imprison himself in loneliness despite having a family around. Pancreatic cancer finally struck him down when he passed away on March 21, 2022 in Ontario, just a few weeks before his 85th birthday. He left behind a net worth estimated at about $1 million USD, enough for audiences to remember the image of a dedicated actor who gave his all to every role, whether big or small. Richard Dean Anderson as Colonel Jack O'Neill. Richard Dean Anderson was born on January 23, 1950, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. At the age of 47, he stepped into Stargate SG-1 in 1997 in the role of Colonel Jack O'Neill, replacing Kurt Russell, and quickly turned this character into an icon, a seasoned, humorous officer, compassionate yet also tough and irreverent. O'Neill was both the leader and the soul of the SG-1 team, carrying military experience and personal pain from family loss, making him a deeply layered figure for the series. Yet, behind the spotlight, Anderson had to endure chronic back pain along with persistent insomnia, which made his mental state increasingly unstable. There were tense periods on set when he forgot his lines, lost his temper, and even argued fiercely with the director, creating rifts in the production atmosphere of Stargate SG-1 multiple times. His relationship with longtime partner April Prose, the mother of his daughter, also grew cold because of rumors that Anderson was dependent on alcohol to relieve stress. Around the early 2000s, he fell into a psychological crisis, withdrew, and chose to leave the screen to spend time with his daughter Wiley, whom he called the only reason I keep living. Richard moved to live rather reclusively in Malibu, staying away from offers to return, though he still occasionally appeared at fan conventions for Stargate. As of 2025, Anderson is 75 years old, still maintaining a quiet and private lifestyle, only rarely interacting with the public, and turning down all projects to reboot Stargate. With an estimated net worth of about $20 million USD from MacGyver, Stargate SG-1, and production contracts, he is content enjoying peaceful days with his daughter, closing a journey that was both brilliant and turbulent for the American television legend. Amanda Tapping as Major Samantha Carter. Amanda Tapping was born on August 28, 1965 in Rochford, England. In 1997, when she was 32 years old, she transformed into Major Samantha Carter in Stargate SG-1, an outstanding female scientist and at the same time a courageous military officer, making important contributions to leading missions through the Stargate. Carter not only brought top-level quantum physics knowledge, but also served as a solid support for the SG-1 team, helping the series leave a strong impression throughout nearly a decade of broadcast. However, behind the stage lights, Tapping went through major psychological shocks when she faced 8 miscarriages in her marriage with Alan Kovacs, which at times pushed her into depression and exhaustion during the peak of her career. Among the stressful filming seasons, there were rumors she was nearly cut from Stargate Atlantis Season 5 due to salary disputes and disagreements with the producers, but she still persistently held on to the role of Carter, despite the heavy pressure on her mind. Tapping was also described as so perfectionistic that it became harsh, causing fatigue among the crew when she demanded meticulousness in every detail. This pressure also extended to her married life, with rumors of cracks, although she and her husband ultimately stayed together and raised their daughter. After gradually stepping away from acting, Amanda shifted her focus to directing series such as Travelers, Anne with an E, and Motherland, Fort Salem, but still maintained a special connection with the Stargate fan community. Now, at the age of 59, she chooses a quiet lifestyle and only takes part in rare events, mainly to share professional experiences and spread stories of overcoming loss. With an estimated net worth of about $5 million USD from Stargate SG-1 Sanctuary and directing contracts, Amanda Tapping is still considered a solid icon of North American science fiction. Christopher Judge as TLC. Christopher Judge was born on October 13, 1964, in Los Angeles. He is the face tied to the image of the warrior TLC in Stargate SG-1 ever since 1997, when he was 33 years old. In the series, Teal'c is a Jaffa warrior who once served the Goa'uld, but later became a loyal ally of Earth, with a calm, strong demeanor and always sacrificing for the greater good. The role turned Judge into an icon in the hearts of science fiction fans. But behind that spotlight, Judge's life was filled with no less harsh events. He once struggled with painkiller addiction during the early stage of SG-1, to the point of nearly being fired as he constantly argued fiercely about the character's development with the producers. His marriage was also shattered, as the divorce from Margaret Judge was rumored to involve both infidelity and financial crisis, followed by a bitter custody battle that left Judge mentally exhausted. Moving into the era of voicing Kratos in God of War, Judge continued to face tragedy when a spinal injury during an intense recording session forced him to have both hips replaced, followed by back and knee surgeries. The lengthy recovery process caused him both physical and mental pain, forcing him to learn to work and train again almost from scratch. Now, at the age of 60, Christopher Judge still persistently contributes to the gaming and film industry, while maintaining a connection with the Stargate fan community. Despite having to battle with long-lasting chronic pain, he still holds on to his passion, with an estimated net worth of about $4 million USD, the result of years of relentless and harsh dedication both on set and in the recording booth. Michael Shanks as Dr. Daniel Jackson. Michael Shanks was born on December 15, 1970, in Vancouver. He stepped into the Stargate SG-1 universe in 1997 when he was just 27 years old, portraying the talented archaeologist Daniel Jackson, a central character with deep knowledge and rich human emotion. The role of Daniel brought Shanks's name closer to global audiences, despite the fact that he left the series at the end of Season 5 due to creative disagreements with the producers over the character's development direction, a decision that shocked the fan community and sparked many tense controversies at the time. Off-screen, Shanks's life was also not without turmoil. He married actress Lexa Doig in 2003, but there were once rumors of cracks around an alleged affair after he was caught being intimate with a colleague at a fan convention, though the two later denied it. On top of that, Shanks's family suffered a major shock when they were harassed by an obsessive fan, leading to severe psychological disturbances that forced him to tighten security and live reclusively for many years. After leaving Stargate SG-1, Shanks faced many failures with small projects and low-profile television shows, pushing him into a career deadlock. Because of that, he once had to temporarily turn to teaching acting to maintain an income while nurturing his artistic passion in a less pressured way. Now, at the age of 54, Michael Shanks still keeps his passion alive, even though he no longer appears frequently on screen. He focuses on guest appearances at fan conventions, occasionally taking small film roles, and still cherishes the legacy of Stargate SG-1, where he was able to build up an estimated net worth of about $2.3 million USD, just enough to comfortably support his family and enjoy a more peaceful life. Terrell Rother as Dr. Janet Fraser. Terrell Rother was born on November 9, 1962, in Vancouver. She stepped into the Stargate SG-1 universe in 1997 when she was 35 years old, taking on the role of Chief Medical Officer Janet Fraser, a kind-hearted, courageous woman who provided medical care for the SG-1 team and soldiers at SGC base. This character left a strong mark with her moving sacrifice when she was killed in the line of duty, becoming one of the biggest shocks in the storyline. Rother, with her warm voice and deeply emotional acting, portrayed Janet as a quietly beating but steady heart alongside the warriors. Behind the spotlight, Rother's life was also full of challenges. She went through a period of postpartum depression and chronic fatigue syndrome during the filming of Stargate SG-1, which seriously affected her work and spirit. There was a rumor circulating in the industry that Rother had once been blacklisted by a powerful producer for refusing inappropriate behavior, causing her career to stall after leaving Stargate. Besides that, Rother's silence about the identity of her daughter's father sparked speculation about a secret romance in the entertainment industry that she never publicly addressed. Additionally, the relationship between Rother and co-star Amanda Tapping was also rumored to have faced tension due to disagreements about acting approaches in the later seasons, although both always avoided confirming it publicly. These simmering conflicts and the pressures of the set made Rother withdraw, limit sharing about her private life, and rarely appear at Stargate fan conventions afterward. Now, at the age of 62, Terrell Rother still works tirelessly in Hallmark television films and takes supporting roles in series like Virgin River and Nancy Drew, maintaining the image of an actress associated with warmth and reliability. Her net worth is estimated at about $2 million USD, enough to help her maintain a peaceful life with her daughter and continue contributing to the Canadian film industry. The journey of the Stargate SG-1 cast is a book full of pages of tragedy, talent, and surprises. Which character do you love most in Stargate SG-1, and which story surprised you the most? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to like, follow, and explore even more fascinating behind-the-scenes secrets.